And welcome to the Howard Eskin Show, riding again with the king. And tonight, I always try to get, and I've succeeded, but I've got a brilliant mind of football as our guest tonight. But before we get to Bruce Arians, um, who has connections with the city of Philadelphia. But before we get to Bruce, let me first tell you that thanks to our presenting sponsor, Stillwell Financial Advisors, if you have wealth in the changing times of money, economy, all the different things going on with money, Stillwell Financial Advisors and Jeff Stillwell sharp guy, good guy, and fun to talk to. I've learned a lot from Jeff, and you will too. You can give him a call at 732 343 0813. And on the show tonight, we're going to do after we talk to I'm telling you, there's so many things that Bruce Arians has done, and Bruce Arians has done. But and after that, we're going to talk about the nonsense going on with the Eagles and AJ Brown. It's just come on, man, just go out there and play football. We're going to talk about that. And talk about Bryce Harper being pissed off at Dave Dombrowski for what he said in a news conference. Bryce, just have a good year. And we'll talk about the Sixers, the fool's gold that is the 76ers team. And the Flyers are playing great. They've won 4 out of 5. We'll talk about them as well. And before we get to Bruce, let me tell you that Audi of Westchester has a great deal going on right now. 3.99% financing for up to 72 months on the following new Audis. And they're redesigned and they are new. The A5, the Q5, the SQ5, the Q5 Sportback, the SQ5 Sportback, and the Q6 e-tron, the rear-wheel drive. Audi Westchester, located 1421 Wilmington Pike. This offer is not going to last long. I mean, where are you going to get 3.99% financing for up to 72 months? And new redesigned Audis, the A5, Q5, SQ5, Q5 Sportback, and the SQ5 Sportback, and the Q6 e-tron rear-wheel drive. Check it all out at Audi Westchester.com. And also, there's not much time left. The weather is getting a little chilly, but you can still do some things with your property when guests come over, whether it's building a pool, and Piazza Property Pros can do all that, whether it's pool maintenance, landscaping, fencing, hardscaping, excavation, 25 years of experience. Piazza Property Pros, they don't subcontract, which is really important when you're doing things like this. Unmatched customer service. Piazza Property Pros will work within your budget. Schedule a free consultation. Now, understand, not all these companies give a free consultation. Here's the number: 610 566 2608. That's 610 566 2608. Or check them out on their website, piazzaoutdoor.com. And we'll have a giveaway today of a pair of Oakley sunglasses. There'll be something brilliant that Bruce Arians says, and I'll ask you that question, and you submit your answer to my website. Now, let me welcome in, and I say he's a brilliant mind of football, but he really is a very sharp guy, and that would be Bruce Arians. Bruce, welcome to the program. You are a pretty sharp guy, even though you don't want to admit it. You are a pretty sharp guy.
I appreciate it, Howard. You're looking good as ever, baby.
Yeah, I'm trying. Bruce, can you believe in coaching? And it's with, I look back, you were a graduate assistant, 40 years, over 40 years of coaching, counting the years that you were a graduate assistant. Can you believe you were that many years in coaching when you look back at it?
No, because it just flew by, And the great thing about coaching, Howard, is the relationships you build. And I go back to those Temple days, and I think my wife is friends on Facebook with about 40 of my guys. And, we were down at Tampa Bay 3 or 4 years ago, and 20 of them showed up in the spring just to have a weekend down there. So, yeah, I mean, it's the relationship building, and that's the part I miss: the locker room and the coaches and the players.
Temple was I believe, was your first head coaching job. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was 30, thought I knew everything, didn't know shit.
You were 30 back then. They didn't hire young coaches back then.
No, I was by far the youngest in the country at that time.
It's just, and you had some good years at Temple, and it obviously springboarded you to other colleges, the pros. Tell me about the years. And I don't know, did you coach under Bear Bryant for, it was at least a couple of years, right?
His last two, yeah.
Okay. What was it like? And for those people that are too young to Bear Bryant is a legend,
Yeah.
and uh, probably probably maybe the most legendary college football coach. What was it like to coach under a legend like that? And at the time, you didn't know he was a legend, but you knew he was good.
Yeah, I mean, it was close because he tied the record up at Penn State with 314 and then broke it against Auburn with 315. That was the winningest coach ever by then. But yeah, coach was a master of personnel. People didn't realize we played 66 players in every game. He substituted every player, offense, defense, and special teams. No assistant coach sent you didn't dare send a guy across that sideline out into the game. Coach handled it all. Me being a smart ass at the time, I love arguing with him, He always said, "Hey son, you coach him, I'll line him up."
You know what? And college, what did college do for you? I don't think it's easy for a coach to go into especially nowadays, into the pros. What does college do for a coach to help him get ready to coach in the NFL?
Yeah, it's so simple, Howard. I mean, coaching is just teaching. And you can know all the shit in the world, but if you can't teach it, you can't coach. And there's a lot of guys out there that know X's and O's. They're brilliant, but they can't teach it. And I was very fortunate to be around some great ones. Emery Ballard, who invented the wishbone. There's a great special out on him right now called the wishbone. Coach Bryant, Jimmy Sharp, even on our staff at Virginia Tech, Charlie Pell and Danny Ford, Nelson Stokely were all head coaches in college. So I was able to come up with some really, really good guys, mostly all through the Coach Bryant tree.
When you played quarterback in college, right?
Yeah.
You were a quarterback. Do you how much, I don't want to say it's easy to coach, but does it make it easier if you were a quarterback and you've got to know offense, defense to coach? Does it make it easier if you played that position?
I think so. I think because you see the whole game. And for me, I didn't start until my fifth year. So I was a scout team guy. I learned everybody's offense every year. And, Charlie Pell, I started working as his graduate assistant under Charlie Pell. And, man, he'd sit there and smoke cigarettes till midnight. And he'd grill me on, what's this team going to run against us? You know the plays now. I said, they're going to run that counter dive. We stopped it all week. But it was a great learning experience for me. And, I had one great trivia question for you at Virginia Tech. Michael Vick, Marcus Vick, Brian Randall, Tyrod Taylor, or Bruce Arians, who has the most rushing touchdowns in one season?
Don't tell me it was you.
Yeah, buddy. You would have a lot of money with that one, bro.
Boy, you had more rushing touchdowns than Michael Vick
in one season. I had 11 in 1 year.
Wow.
We're running the wishbone. I went 2 games without completing a pass.
Well, who ran? Isn't there a guy in the pros that did a lot of wishbone and they wondered whether he'd be a good pro quarterback? I'm trying to think who it was. I heard about it last week. He ran a lot of wishbone. But
Richard Todd was probably the last first round pick.
That was the guy who played with the Jets for quite a while. All right. So I'm going to get to the Eagles and coaching quarterbacks and what you teach them. Now, you were a coach for, first of all, you won a Super Bowl as the head coach, 2 Super Bowls as an assistant coach with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And you coached Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck, Ben Roethlisberger, and Brady when he was 96 years old, but he still could play. What was it? How does a coach work with quarterbacks that are that talented?
Yeah, I was very fortunate with Peyton and Andrew. I had them as rookies, the first 3 years. Tom, I got in his last 2 years of his career. Carson Palmer was the other one I got later in his career. And he took us to the NFC Championship game. But yeah, it was it's so different when you have a young one and an old one and you're trying to move that clay and change it to a different style. And Tom worked with Brett Belichick for all those years, a defensive coach. But the one thing they all had in common, they were relentless about winning. They just have this ungodly ability to will themselves on everybody that we're going to win this game. somehow, some way, and they hate losing. But yeah, I know when I had those quarterbacks, I was a much better coach when I didn't.
Yeah, well, obviously, but okay. So I didn't realize you had Peyton Manning his rookie year, right?
Yeah.
Okay, was he 3-13? Wasn't he 3-13 his rookie year?
3-13 and threw 28 interceptions, still a record.
Okay,
And we
how
were
do you?
laughing. We were laughing the other day when I was doing the McAfee show. All right, today's time, Tom Moore, one of the greatest coordinators of all time, they would have probably fired us that first year with 28 interceptions. This guy stinks. We'll probably run him out of the building. Now the next year he goes 13-3 and is in the Hall of Fame. But if you don't have patience with these young quarterbacks, and that's what these owners don't get. These kids they're great, but they got to be in a system for a while.
Well, when he's 3-13 his first year, and I guess what was he, one of the first pick or the second pick or whatever it was? He came out of college as a top pick, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, number one.
Number one. Okay, so now how does a coach work with a player who knows he's good, yet 3-13, and I didn't realize it was 28 interceptions his first year? What does the head coach tell him?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I was the quarterback coach, and Tom Moore was the coordinator. Jim Moore, great head coach.
Yeah, I know Jim. Jim was a great head coach.
Great head coach, and it's just, hey, let's just get better every day. And Peyton was a workaholic, and he was used to taking every snap in practice at Tennessee, the entire practice. In the NFL, the offense goes 10 plays, defense goes 10 plays. Well, during the defensive plays, he's wanting to do drills. I said, look, you can't run Marvin Harrison to death over here. He can't run practice like you did. And we'll get some of these other kids over here. But would you and I just do drills? And he was constantly working. If I had an hour meeting with Peyton, I better have 2 hours worth of material. Now, I pity those other two guys in the room because they couldn't write fast enough.
Well, what makes a quarterback? What makes a good quarterback? What is it that makes? Obviously, you have to work and you have to be relentless and all that. But what makes a good quarterback? Because there's some quarterbacks that came into the league. Tom Brady came in as a sixth-round pick. He didn't really play that much at Michigan. I guess that's why he was taken in the third pick of the Patriots. Their third sixth-round pick. What is it that that makes a good quarterback?
The really great ones is the ability to process information in 2.5 seconds. A lot of guys have to wait and see, especially if they have a real strong arm, have to wait and see if somebody's open. Then they try to throw in that little window. The really good ones that's sharp, prepared, they're throwing people open. They're processing the information. I know the protection. I could be hot over here, and they see it, and they can just process that information so fast. These young athletic guys now coming out of college aren't being prepared for that. They're great athletes, and they can be great quarterbacks in the NFL. It's going to take some time to learn how to handle the blitz and know your protections. I saw that with Jalen the first couple of years we played him. Now he's getting it now. He's got answers for the blitz now. He didn't have a couple of years ago. And I think his work ethic supersedes everybody's also. But those guys, they're just workaholics. I mean, you could never have enough film work, enough on-field time, enough practice time. Tom Brady would grill the pro scouts on the corners that were getting ready to play. Peyton had a notebook on every corner in the NFL. And so it's great pressure. Carson was the same way. And he wanted that game plan Tuesday night. He went through 170 plays, got it all down before he ever showed up Wednesday. I mean, they're just great preparation guys.
Okay, you're the head coach for Tom Brady. I want to get back to the processing the blitz and Jalen Hurts. But you were Tom Brady's head coach when he's already won Super Bowls. How do you coach a guy like that? Or you just say, hey, Tom, this is what we're going to do. You okay with that? I mean, how does that work?
Yeah, in the recruiting process with Tom, is like he already knew everything about us. He was recruiting us as much as we were recruiting them. He wanted to live on the East Coast in Florida, no taxes, but get up and see his son play. But had Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and those guys. And but when I would talk to Tommy, I know your system. Our system's simpler. It's easier for you to learn our system than 21 guys go learn your system because they ain't smart enough. That's a very hard system. And I was in it for a couple of years in Pittsburgh, really hard to teach young guys. And he bought in right away. But you got to remember, COVID hits. We have no spring, no OTAs, no summer practice. he shows up for the first time. My wife actually met Tom Brady for the first time on the stage after we win the Super Bowl.
Wow. Gee, that's unbelievable. All right, let me get back to the processing. What does it take for a quarterback? Is it natural ability to process and go through the progressions? I know Jalen had some challenges with that, going through the progressions. And up until the last couple of games, he wasn't throwing the ball over to the center of the field. What does it take for a quarterback to learn how to process and go through your progressions the way you need to do in the NFL?
Yeah, I think when you see guys like Jalen coming out who are very athletic, depend on their legs a lot, especially in college, coaches just going to tell you that 1, 2, 3, take off, brother. The last part of this read is the quarterback draw. And to me, that doesn't help them as much as let's get to 4 and 5, but I've seen unbelievable progress in Jalen's game. His accuracy's up. He's always been able to throw deep balls, but his accuracy's up. He's handling the blitz much better. I think Nick does a great job with him. And the one thing about nobody's going to outwork the guy. That's for sure.
When you look at a quarterback, when they come out of college, is it very difficult? Because most of them are just, I don't want to say most of them, a lot of them are runners, and that's what they do in college. Is it harder to teach a quarterback to play the game the way you need to play it in the NFL to win and not just run all the time? It's good to be athletic, obviously, but is it harder to teach a quarterback that now in the NFL?
Yeah, because they rely so much on it, have so much success in college. And but in college, you're not seeing linebackers that run 4 or 5 all the way across the board like you do in the NFL. And these kids like Jalen Daniels and some of these kids, they depend on their legs, but they're going to get hurt. If you run too much, I always say if you put your quarterback in harm's way enough, harm's coming. And too many of them are out right now. J.J. McCarthy, Daniels. I mean, too many of these young quarterbacks are getting themselves beat up by running too much and not sliding, trying to tell their team, hey, I'm tough enough to be a teammate. Hell, we know you're tough. That's why we drafted you. Slide. Tell me you're smart enough.
What do you think of Jaden Daniels? I mean, he's obviously good, but he's been hurt a couple of times now.
That's the thing. Get down, brother. He's really made a nice progression this year. I don't know if he even threw a pass in the fourth quarter in that playoff game. He just beat us running every time. And but he's progressing as a passer this year. I think Cliff's doing a really good job with him too. And getting McLaren back really helped. But that class is Williams, Drake May, Michael Penix, who I love, Jaden Daniels, J.J. McCarthy. That's a hell of a group of quarterbacks coming out that year.
Somebody has a question here, and what you think of Arch Manning? When you see the name, you automatically think he's good. Is Arch Manning a good NFL quarterback down the line?
Not today, but I think he will be. My son went down to the Manning Academy last year, and he's like, it's night and day, Arch versus the rest of these guys. Just the size, stature, and Jackson Dart, and a bunch of those guys were there. And, he came back raving about Jackson Dart, but he said, man, Arch is unbelievable. And, I think this year, everybody put a lot of weight on his shoulders. I'm just guessing he's got some injuries because watching him throw, it looks like he's struggling some. But I think in time, he's going to be a hell of a player.
Obviously, I would think you're looking at college quarterbacks. And who are if you had to pick 5 quarterbacks, and not every quarterback makes it, just because they're a number 1 pick doesn't mean they make it. Number 1, what do you look for in a college quarterback? And number 2, who do you think are 5 that you think have a good future in the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's meeting them personally, getting to know them, putting them on the blackboard, and really grilling them on how much football they know. I've had guys that couldn't even put up their own plays on the board, let alone stuff I'm teaching them versus this coverage. Tell me about coverage. Explain coverages to me. I don't know, Coach. We just go 1, 2, 3 progression. I don't look at coverages. Okay, so it's like, okay, we got a long way to go with you. Then it's the measurables. All right, there's a standard of measurables that have been successful in the league. No one under 5'9" made it except Doug Flutie, and it took him a hell of a long time. I thought there's some shorter guys coming out that are Kyler Murray and a couple of guys that they're going to struggle because they can't see. And again, you can't run all the time. But I think I call it grit. He better be a team captain too. All right, that's something I always look for. Is this quarterback a team captain? Now I know he's a leader. Guys respect him in the locker room. Doing all your background check on the family and everything else. There's a lot goes into evaluating quarterbacks, that's for sure. And then this year, I'm just getting started, but I really like Mendoza at Indiana. What Kirk Cignetti's did with that program is just amazing. But to bring that kid in the first year and light it up, to me, I like Drew Aller, but I didn't like the offense he was in at Penn State. He didn't throw the ball enough, and Arch needs to stay.
You got at Oklahoma, and he got hurt.
Yeah, I really like him. Yeah, Mateer. And
right.
And Lenore Sellers is another guy that's okay. I got to get you on the block because you are big. You look like Cam Newton, and but we know Cam got broken up too in this league. So I got to get to some of the rest that I haven't seen enough of. You know
what? There's Jalen Hurts up until the last couple of games was not, and I was told this, was not comfortable taking the snap under center. Obviously, I think one of the things is he could see the defense better from the shotgun. How much more effective is it to run play action? And the Eagles have done that the last couple of games, to run play action when the quarterback is under center.
Well, yeah, it's a lot easier because the time that you have the ball in your hands is about the same. But if you're taking 1, 2, 3, faking 4, 5, 6, 7, it's a whole lot different than in shotgun. Go 1. Now I got to do something. First of all, I got to do something. Wiggle around back here till the receivers go downfield, because in the play action game you're usually throwing 18 to 20 yards down the field, and that would be a normal 7-step drop. So you got to time everything together with that action. You see more teams going to the pistol rather than the offset back that happens so fast.
Right.
Now the RPOs, but to get the ball up the field, I think you get it in the pistol, ride him a little bit, take 1, 2, 3, 4, get back and set up, and the timing of everything will be there.
Obviously Todd Bowles has done some really good things against the Eagles. The Eagles won the game this year, but just something about Todd Bowles and the way he coaches against Jalen Hurts. Is there something that he sees? And I know you're an advisor for Tampa. Is there something he sees that he knows could be effective that puts Jalen Hurts in a little bit of I'll use the word quandary?
Yeah, the big thing is stop the run. Get him behind the chains, get him in 6 or more, 3rd and 6 or more, and then can he handle the pressures, the different pressures he's going to see? And Todd is very good at unique pressures, especially in the second half. Now, he may run some things that are on film the first half that you might have prepared for, but you ain't going to see the ones that you're going to see in the second half. And the second half of that ball game, I don't know if they have 2 first downs or something in that game. If we don't get the block punt early, that's a different game. But, yeah, we've had success against the Eagles. Todd has for sure, because we're going to be able to stop that run.
When you look at young quarterbacks, Jackson Dart, he didn't have a good game last week, but I don't know that was all his fault. They did beat the Eagles in the first time they played him. Jackson Dart looks like he's going to be a good quarterback. Agree?
Oh, totally, yes.
And what makes him a good quarterback?
He's very confident. Now, it's going to come across cocky, but he's very confident in himself. And he's already, as soon as he stepped in there, he had some success, and everybody got juiced. Everybody's juiced up. Him and Scatterboo. I hate to see Scatterboo get hurt, man. These young kids, what a great pair of young players for the Giants to build around, and hopefully he's okay next year. But, yeah, Jackson Dart's got some moxie about him.
Do people take when you coached Tom Brady and won that Super Bowl with Tom Brady with Tampa, do people, and he's obviously not an athletic guy, he's just a smart and a good quarterback. Do you kind of use that example when you look at hey, listen, he didn't have to run. He just did the things that you had to do. Do you kind of use him as an example for young quarterbacks that love to just take off?
Yeah, I think the success I had with Peyton, Tom, and Carson, who were they were not running threats. They were great in the pocket, moving around,
Mhm.
keeping their eyes downfield, and getting the ball to the right people. And so to me, that's still the prototypical, because I grew up loving Johnny Unitas. And to me, that's the perfect quarterback. And now, if you can run like a Drake May, who has the same measurables as those guys, but he can run 4.6, 4.5, and yeah. And I had Andrew Luck was like, but Andrew was a pocket guy. But if he had to, he could get out and go. Now, trouble with him, if he threw an interception, he tried to go blow the guy up. And I said, look, you never tackle with your right shoulder. You tackle with your left shoulder. But Andrew Luck was an amazing kid to coach.
I always loved watching Baker Mayfield play. He's, I guess, the last couple of games he hasn't had great games. He's been okay, but what is it about? He obviously makes the Tampa Bay, and you're an advisor there. The Bucks better. What is it about him that makes him? He doesn't have the same talent. I don't think I may be misstating this. What makes him a good quarterback?
Extremely accurate. I mean, extremely. Coming out of college, he was one of the most accurate guys I've ever looked at. But in Oklahoma, his offensive line was like 6'5", 6'6", 6'7". So you knew he at that stature wasn't going to bother him, and he had that amazing moxie and grit about him. Like those guys, they will run through a wall for him. I mean, he owns the city, he owns the town. The players love him because he's going to sacrifice himself, whatever it takes to win. And he's pulled him out of the fire 4 times this year in the last minutes. Didn't quite get her done in Detroit, and the Eagle game got out of hand too early. But I think, yeah, Baker, the moment's never too big for him. He actually loves that big moment.
Okay, the NFC, which Tampa is a part of, who are the teams that you think could compete, really compete, not just say, okay, they're a contender, really compete to get to the Super Bowl? And Tampa, obviously, I think Tampa is in that mix. Who are the teams in the NFC, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think Detroit's playing great too. Detroit, Philadelphia, maybe the whole entire West. Philly, I mean, Seattle, San Francisco, and the Rams. The Rams really look good, especially with that young defense. And the Bucks. Green Bay has a chance. I think Jordan Love's playing really good right now.
Yeah.
And it's all about staying healthy. But that defense that they've got up there in Green Bay is pretty solid.
You know, when you look at Sam Darnold, what the hell is it when a quarterback, did they just have him not doing the right things in a bad system? What makes Sam Darnold better? That's why Seattle has a chance to compete for the Super Bowl. It's Sam Darnold. What is it that made him, and obviously other quarterbacks? Daniel Jones is another one. He's in the AFC. All of a sudden now, like, where did this come from? They were both high picks, but they didn't succeed with their teams. What is it? What is it that made Sam Darnold better?
Yeah, I think all these kids who get drafted number 1 or number 2 went to shitty teams. All right, that's why you're number 1 or number 2. No good team gets that pick. So there's so much to build around you. If you don't have a running game, especially for these young guys, I'm looking at Caleb Williams now in his second year, but they have a running game now with DeAndre Swift. But Sam Darnold's got a hell of a running game with him right now. Daniel Jones, hell of an offensive line, tight ends. They're in a system now that fits them perfectly. And they've played enough football, they understand it. They could always process it. You're not number 1 pick, number 2 pick in the draft for because you're not good. It's just being in the right system at the right time with the right people.
All right, you've coached a few teams in the NFL. What is the toughest thing a head coach? The players now are different than, you got it. Well, you had Brady there, so you didn't have to worry about it when you won a Super Bowl. How much more difficult is it for a head coach to coach these young players, a lot of these young players, not all of them, that think they know everything? How difficult is that?
Yeah, the entitlement factor that these kids have now just blows me away. Freshmen in college demanding more money. They shut up and play. And I mean, college football is out of hand. But yeah, I think it comes from there, and they're spoiled. They transfer, they quit. Anytime it gets tough, we teach our kids to quit now. Just transfer to another school. And and if you're lucky, you'll make it up. But you never work hard enough. They forgot how to work hard. But each kid learns so differently. For me, I harped on our assistant coaches, hey, learn how this kid learns so you can teach him. Is he a visual guy? Does he have to walk through it? Does he have to write it down? And make sure that he's prepared. And each kid is so different now. And that's why the draft process is so hard. You got to find out all these things that make them tick, and you don't want those guys on your team.
All right, excluding Tom Brady, who was the best quarterback that you ever coached, whether it be as a head coach or as an assistant?
That's tough. But I'm pissed off for him every time. But Ben Roethlisberger always gets mad at me because everybody, oh, you're gonna say Brady and Manning, and actually it was Andrew Luck his rookie year. What he did his rookie year, win 11 games with the team that we had. We had 7 rookies starting on offense, and he won 7 games in the last minute. That's what I love about Jalen Daniels. He won 6 games in the last minute last year. That shows me a lot of grit about a guy. But in the big game, I'm not taking anybody but Ben. Ben, I was in the big game with Ben. He goes 92 yards to win the Super Bowl. So in the big games, I'm taking Ben. But Andrew's athletic ability and his stature, he was 6'5", 240, and his combine numbers were better than Cam Newton's. And so they forget about the athlete he was. And he's got a photographic memory. You know, he wasn't a guy that took a ton of notes. And I'd say, hey, man, you got it? I got it. Tell me you got it. He'd repeat it back with like, holy shit, he does have it. And but you know, I was just blessed with Carson, even Timmy Couch. People say Tim Couch was a bust. Tim Couch was a hell of a player.
Well, that was the year McNabb was taken by the Eagles, I believe, correct?
Yeah. And Timmy went first, but he just got broken up. He got sacked 162 times or something his first 3 years. And by that time, I got him his elbow and shoulder all tore up.
So you would say slightly the best quarterback that you had to coach was Andrew Luck, and 1A would be Roethlisberger.
In the big games.
In the big games.
But
But Andrew Luck's your guy, right?
Yeah, he is. And Andrew and Ben, they just had that special trait about him. Ben can swat guys off of him and throw the ball down the field. And wasn't quite as really athletic, but not quite as much as Andrew in the 40. But and it's hard to say that it wasn't Tom and Peyton.
Were you with the Pittsburgh team when who was a defensive lineman that intercepted the ball and ran it? Was it 92 yards? Were you with that team? They won the Super Bowl that year.
Yeah,
right?
That was our Super Bowl 43 team. Yeah.
Yeah.
James Harrison.
It's amazing when you think about that. You don't win the game if that interception doesn't happen.
And he was supposed to blitz. And he saw them pick up the inside guys, and that guy tackle turned. So he knew they were going to get there. So he just stepped back, and Kurt Warner had a hot. He just stepped right in front of it, and got lucky and took it down. And then Larry Fisher damn near caught him. He ran around the whole bench, almost caught him on the 2. But
you know what? And Kurt Warner probably will never live that down because that would have been another Super Bowl for him.
Yeah, for sure.
It's unbelievable. You touched on the college thing, and this is a mess because it's so disgusting that they're free agents every year. Who was it? Andrew Brandt told me a story. He's an advisor at Louisville. He said they had a lineman. He didn't give me his name. They offered him $300,000. And that was in January. Now they only have one portal where they had 2. Yeah. Offered him $300,000. He came back a couple months later. He says, such and such a team offered me $500. Well, we're not going to give you $500. And he left. Yep. I mean, but there's no tampering. There's none of that stuff that you have in the NFL. How bad is it right now in college football with players just going anywhere they want every year if they want to?
I think it's terrible. I feel for the mid teams. You get a guy like I would have lost Paul Palmer probably sophomore year to the portal at Temple because I wouldn't have been able to pay what he would have to get, you know. And he's leading the nation in rushing. And but yeah, it's some good things about it. I like the fact that hey, I'm at William & Mary and I'm really good now. I grew 4 inches and put on 30 pounds, and I can go play at LSU for maybe $500,000. That's okay. But this stuff with recruiting guys off your campus, like Lane Kiffin said last week, had a wide receiver have a good game. They wanted to raise. Well, you know, this conglomerate's calling me saying they can get me this amount of money if I leave. And, you especially these coaches that got fired, those kids can all transfer now, which is crazy, absolutely
Disgraceful.
crazy. It is. And, we lost 4 or 5 at Virginia Tech. And, Phil Montgomery's doing a hell of a job with the kids he's got left to beat Cal last week. But, yeah, I don't mind the NIL, but the portal drives me nuts.
Okay, so you mentioned Paul Palmer, and one of your offensive linemen that helped him succeed was John Ringstra.
Yep.
That I hope I pronounced his name right. And he's up to be inducted. Paul Palmer's in the College Football Hall of Fame, and
Yep.
I know you're an advocate to get. Why should John Ringstra be in the College Football Hall of Fame?
Yeah, he was a freak athlete. I mean, just unbelievable for the times, to be that big, that fast. Hell, I played him on defense a couple of times, because he could rush the passer. And, to be a first-round pick out of Temple, we had both he and Paul were unanimous All-Americans. And I just think John is well-deserving to be in there. His college career was amazing. And his professional career got shortened with some shoulder injuries. But, no, I don't think there's a more worthy guy to dominate. I think the only person that got him one time was Bruce Smith when we played Virginia Tech at the Vet.
The problem, I guess, is with offensive or interior defensive linemen, they don't get the notoriety. They don't have numbers like a cornerback or a quarterback or a wide receiver. They don't have those numbers. Is that the biggest problem? And is that what you're trying to push to get people to recognize that this guy was that good and should be in the College Football Hall of Fame?
Yeah, I think if Joe Moore were still alive, the college football offensive line is named after Joe Moore, their award, he'd be in already, because everybody respects it. And everybody knows Joe's no offensive lineman. And he thought John Ringstra was one of the best he ever
had. The situation with Bill Belichick, I call him Bill Belichick for obvious reasons. It's like he comes in with all that because he couldn't get a pro job. He took the North Carolina job. I just don't know, with all the things that are being said and his manager, whatever you want to call her, can he be successful with all the things that have come in with him and the expectations?
Yeah, I think so, because Carolina's got a lot of money. They went out and got 70 new guys. Obviously, they didn't get the right 70, but they'll hit that portal again. And I think they already flipped one of Penn State's 5 stars. So with the money and his reputation, they should be able to get it back pretty quick.
Yeah, well, he's not going to have a good year this year. Obviously,
No.
It's already down the drain, and I don't think he's going to get a pro offer, which I think is what he hoped for. So he's going to be there. He's going to have to succeed. I love colleges now. Now they have general managers, and I like Mike Lombardi. How do you have a general manager for college football? I mean, what the hell? And I know you got to go out and find players, and then you're negotiating to pay them. That's another. Don't you think that's ridiculous?
Yeah, I think when you have the guy that's basically the old recruiting coordinator is now the banker and everything else, they're calling him the GM now. It's different for Andrew Luck and Ron Rivera and their roles versus what Mike Lombardi. Mike Lombardi's the recruiting coordinator he's picking them and he's paying them. And he's leaning on the portal guys and the conglomerates to give him the right guys at the right price. And, he failed last year at it for sure, but he better get better this year.
Okay, a couple more questions. Excluding the Super Bowl, which is obviously your biggest memory, what would be your fondest achievement or memory in coaching? And I'll just say in the NFL.
That's hard to say that, because even the Super Bowl doesn't compare to Temple beating Pitt for the first time in 45 years. And the Beach Boys being in concert right after the game. That, to me, I'll never forget that locker room, because Pitt beat us like 45-0 the year before. And, they had Freilich and all those guys. And, Tim Hanley, God bless him. And I said, just cut him. Just cut him every play. And we kicked that field goal and win the game. And it's like, the Super Bowl was huge. Yeah. And, I think in the NFL, beating New Orleans in the playoffs, beating Green Bay on the road, and then winning the Super Bowl at home. Those three were fantastic.
Well,
They're great.
It sounds like you had some really fun years. 6 years at Temple. I can't think of the last coach, and there probably has been a couple since you that have stayed. Because if you have success, then you go to a bigger school. But it wasn't the same case when you were there. You had some fun times at Temple, didn't you?
I really did. I loved it. I mean, I love what it stood for. We started at Temple tough. You might beat us, but your ass is losing next week because we're kicking your ass.
And Casey Keeler's doing a nice job this year.
He's doing a great job. He used to come and watch us practice way back in the day and look through the fence. And I'm really proud of the job they're doing.
Hey, this is the last question, and we've lost two broadcasting legends in Philadelphia today, and one of them is one that you worked with, Harry Donahue, worked at KYW, did Temple basketball and football play-by-play, but not until the 2000s. But you did work with him before that, didn't you?
Yeah, we did our TV show and radio show together, and man, Harry was a great guy. Mike Fetchko always hooked everything up, and yeah. When you told me that today, I had to shed a tear about that one because Harry's a great guy.
Yeah, I believe he had cancer for the last couple of years, and he fought his way through it. But I knew Harry well too. He was a wonderful, wonderful guy, and obviously you have some great memories of him as well.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, and may he rest in peace, Bruce. You, I think Tampa could play the Eagles again in the playoffs. And if I was an Eagles fan, I mean, cover them. If I were a fan of the Eagles, I'd worry about Tampa playing the Eagles the second time. Todd Bowles isn't going to let that happen again.
Yeah, I love our shot, and I think so much is going to come down to home field advantage this year, and who can ride it out, who beats who, and for us, we've struggled in Detroit, and we've had some success in Philly. So I just hope the dominoes fall the right way.
Well, hey,
that
listen,
would be a great matchup for sure.
I never forgot you from your days at Temple, and I've seen you multiple times since that, and I really appreciate. I had fun. I had fun tonight talking to you. I mean,
I appreciate it, brother.
Reliving a lot of old things, and you gave me some good knowledge. Who would have known? Like. That you would have had the most rushing touchdowns at Virginia Tech, the school that Michael Vick played in your first year. It's crazy. That is crazy, but it's a great. Yeah, I'll win a bet with that. If I win a bet, I'm going to share it with you.
There you go, brother.
All right. Hey, thanks, Bruce. Always a pleasure,
you,
and thank you very much. Take care.
Appreciate it.
Bruce Arians is what a terrific, great guy. What a great guy. And he is very nice. He's a really good coach. And health reasons are the reasons that he had to leave coaching, but he's still an advisor for Tampa. But he's a really good coach. 2 Super Bowls as an assistant, 1 as the head coach. He beat Kansas City in the Super Bowl 55. He's had some great quarterbacks. We're going to talk about some other things here. But one thing, I want to congratulate our winner of the Chickies and Pete's gift certificate from the last show. The question was, what did Mark Lawrence say should be eliminated, with this gambling scandal now in the pros, with the basketball guys? What should be eliminated to help that situation? It will never happen because the leagues make too much money out of the sports books. Eliminate all player prop bets. And John Califoot was one of the people that answered that correctly, submitted his answer to my website, howardeskin.com. And congratulations, John. I'll get you out that Chickies and Pete's gift certificate. Plenty of locations, so you won't have any problem finding a Chickies and Pete's. And I'm sure you will enjoy some good food. All right. I do want to talk about A.J. Brown. I want to talk about Bryce Harper. I want to talk about the best 2 teams in baseball. And we know the Phillies are not close to these teams right now. it's just, well, I'm going to get into that. And what you should worry about with the Sixers. And there was another really legendary broadcaster that passed away today in Philadelphia, and I want to get to that too. But first, let me tell you that our presenting sponsor, really important and really a good guy. So there's two things going for him, and that would be Jeff Stillwell of Stillwell Financial Advisors. Just talked to Jeff this week. He's a fountain. I see somebody up here says a fountain of knowledge. Well, Bruce Arians is a fountain of knowledge when it comes to football, but a fountain of knowledge when it comes to being able to handle your wealth and invest it as good as it can be invested. And that's Jeff Stillwell with Stillwell Financial Advisors. Give him a call and you check it out for yourself. 732 343 0813. 732 343 0813. By the way, I am going to have, and I'll come up with it in a little while. I already have the question from the show tonight, so you can win a pair of Oakley sunglasses. I got a question. Submit your answer by Friday, this Friday, October 31st. That's Halloween, trick or treat. And on Saturday, we will come up and announce the winner on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Subscribe to YouTube. You can catch all the shows live on all those platforms, plus Amazon, Spotify, Apple, all those things where the show appears. But submit your answer to howardeskin.com and we will announce the winner on Saturday. And you subscribe to YouTube and you're notified as soon as the show comes on. All right. Let me tell you about some other important people on this program, and that would be Audi Westchester. Audi Westchester's got a deal. They got a deal. They got a deal. 3.99% financing. They got a deal for up to 72 months on new, remodeled, redesigned models for Audi, the A5, the Q5, the SQ5, Q5 Sportback, SQ5 Sportback, and the Q6 e-tron rear-wheel drive. Now, where are you going to get 3.99% financing on a new automobile? You're not, all right? But Audi Westchester can give it to you. Located, it's always fun to look at a new car. Grab a cup of coffee, grab some snacks while you're there. 1421 Wilmington Pike, 3.99% for up to 72 months on all those models. You see them right there, the A5, the Q5, the SQ5, Q5 Sportback, the SQ5 Sportback, and the Q6 e-tron rear wheel drive. Check it all out at AudiWestchester.com. Another important company and partner of this program, Piazza Property Pros. Remember that name, Piazza Property Pros. You want a new pool, they can do that. You want pool maintenance, they can do that. You want landscaping, they can do that. You want excavation, they can do that. Hardscaping, fencing, remodel your backyard property, they can do that. 25 years of experience. They don't subcontract. They're good. 610, here's the number, 610-566-2608. That's 610-566-2608. Check them out on their website, piazzaoutdoor.com. All right. There's some things I want to I got to deal with here. Got to deal with. This AJ Brown stuff is just complete, utter bullshit and nonsense. And he's creating this problem. He doesn't need to do that. He doesn't need to do that. It's just he doesn't need to do that. There's always something. He removes all the positive tweets he had of Jalen Hurts. Like, come on, man. The team's 6-2. You're a good wide receiver. I said this the other day on a show. I think Devontae Smith is a better wide receiver, not by much, but I think he's a better wide receiver. He's faster, he catches the one-on-one balls. He catches those. He's got speed. He's physical. He takes a hard hit. I'm telling you, he's really, really good. But AJ, you're important to the team. I think it would be ridiculous for the Eagles to trade him because you're only going to trade him. You're not going to get a good player because anybody that wants to trade for him wants to keep good players. Eagles made a trade today for a cornerback. They traded nothing for nothing. It's not even a big deal. So they needed a cornerback and they didn't need a wide receiver. And they traded a wide receiver, so they're not going to trade AJ. The whole thing is just absolute utter bullshit. I don't think they're going to trade him. Now, teams are going to call. But the Eagles, you say, are they shopping him? No, they're not shopping him. They're not shopping him. But if somebody calls up and blows them away with an offer, they certainly would. They're going to listen to everything. That's what they do. But I would think it's a 1% chance that he would be traded. So let's stop. Let's stop all this nonsense. Yeah, I see. Tony says Devontae Smith keeps his mouth shut. Yeah, he just plays football, and AJ doesn't say it outwardly. He does it on social media. He's got to stop with the social media. I mean, he took himself off of Twitter for a while, and that didn't work because he couldn't stand it. He had to do something else. All right, the World Series. Did I clear that up with AJ Brown? Just shut the bleep up. All right, just shut the bleep up. And just play the game. Just play the game. But I would think it's next to impossible to trade him. That's just my opinion. The two best teams in baseball are currently playing in the World Series. They are the two best teams in baseball. Are the Phillies close to those teams? No, not really. Not really. Do you notice what those teams do? They put the ball in play. It was 2-1 the other night. And Toronto, I forget who the batter was, just put his bat on the ball and hit a single to left field and brought in an insurance run. The Phillies just don't do that. And they just don't do that. And I'm going to ask you a question. Yeah, I've said this before. George says, hey, AJ, just don't hit send. All right. Just don't hit send. That's what he's got to learn, but he's never going to learn that. All right. Who do you think is better between Freddie Freeman and Bryce Harper? On Saturday, we can have you call in about that. I mean, you want to call in, it's a little late to do that, but you can put up a comment. Who do you think is better? And don't tell me Bryce Harper. Freddie Freeman's numbers are better than Bryce Harper. And everybody, Bryce Harper, he's elite. Yeah, he was a very, very, very good player. He's still a good player, but not a very good player. But Freddie Freeman just rolls with it. I see Bob puts up there. Bob Base says Freddie Freeman. Chet Freeman. Agree 100% on AJ Brown. Patty H says agree 100% on AJ Brown. But who is better, Freddie Freeman? Freddie Freeman in a heartbeat. Freeman is more clutch. Freeman doesn't always go for the home run. Nobody on base. He had a pitch that he could drive, and he knows what to do. He doesn't swing for home runs most of the time. He swings to make contact. And that home run the other night that won the game in the 18th, he knew what he was doing. He knew what his approach was going to be. And he got a pitch down the middle of the plate, and he knew he could make good contact with it. Freddie Freeman, in a stone cold heartbeat, is better than Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper's a good player, but not that good. And Bryce Harper whining. Harper's starting to show his true colors. Yeah, I see that. Who made that comment? Ted Rhodes. He is starting to home runs for. It just, Bryce Harper has only driven in 100 runs twice in his career. Once with Washington, and once with the Phillies. That's it. Everybody says, "Oh yeah, he drives in 100 runs." No, nope. All right. Bryce Harper started whining about what Dave Dombrowski said at his post-game news conference. I guess he implied that he was dissing him. I mean, Dave Dombrowski didn't diss him and told the truth. Let's hear what Dave Dombrowski had to say, and you tell me whether you think he was dissing him.
Well, I don't think, in Bryce's case, of course, he's still a quality player. He's still a all-star caliber player. He didn't have an elite season like he has had in the past. And I guess we only find out if he becomes elite or he continues to be good. I mean, it's not like he's, it's like if you say to me, I look around the league, I was trying to think Freddie Freeman. He's a really good player, right? He still is a good player. Is he elite like he was before? Probably not to the same extent. And so that's nothing because, Freddie's a tremendous player. And that's, to me, is Bryce. Can he rise to the next level again? I don't really know that answer. I mean, and really he's the one that will dictate that more than anything else. I mean, is what it comes down to. So I don't think he's content with the year that he had. And again, it wasn't a bad year. But when I think of Bryce Harper, you're thinking elite, right? You're thinking one of the top 10 players in baseball, and I don't think it fit into that category. But again, very good player. I have no idea when you see somebody. I have seen guys at his age, again, he's not old, that level off. Or I've seen guys rise again. We'll see what happens.
You know what? It's Bryce Harper's not an elite player anymore. If Bryce Harper thinks he's in the top 10 of baseball players in baseball, he is delusional. I don't know if he's in the top 20, right on the edge, but I don't know that he's in the top 20. He had, 75 RBIs, 27 home runs, hit 261, I think it was. Freddie Freeman has a lifetime 300 average. And I know people don't care about average, but you still got to put the ball in play. And Bryce Harper, if he's mad at Dave Dombrowski for saying he's not an elite player, then he better just be quiet, because he's not an elite player. He's a good player. He's not an elite player. Elite is a step above. It's just, he's swinging. He wants to get to 500 home runs. I don't know if he's going to get to 500. He won't get to 400 after next year. Now he's got 5 more years after that, but is he going to be able to hit home runs at that level after that? I see Chet said Dombrowski is just, I assume he's making a point. Dombrowski, he's just speaking the truth. Yeah. I mean, what was wrong with what Dave Dombrowski said? And for Bryce Harper to whine about that is nonsense. Just go out there, play the game. He somebody said he brings, it's a country club because he brings all his friends into the team. I mean, he got Trey Turner here. Trey Turner's a nice player, but Bryce Harper wanted him here. That's why. That's one of the reasons Trey Turner's here. It's just play the game. Bryce Harper wanted to play first base. That's why he's at first base. I don't think the Phillies would sign Pete Alonso, but it doesn't matter because Bryce doesn't want to go to right field. Dale says the Phillies should be open about trading Bryce Harper. Well, let me just break the news to you. I don't think teams are going to take him with 6 years left. You're not going to get enough for him. They're not trading Bryce Harper. He still has to stay here. But you've got to fix other parts of that lineup. The Phillies are not in the same category. Toronto's a really good team. How about them coming back from an 18-inning loss and then winning the next game? Those guys got cojones, boy. They are really, really, really good. And the Dodgers are really, really good. And Freddie Freeman is better than Bryce Harper. All right. Let me now deal with the Sixers. All these Kool-Aid drinking, and I say that with sarcasm because it was a serious situation, which a lot of people don't even remember. These people that just drink the Kool-Aid and, follow the Pied Piper. The Sixers are a team that's got zero chance of winning a championship. Zero chance of getting to the finals. Zero chance of getting to the conference finals. Just because they're 4-0, they're giving up an average of over 120 points a game. And right now, nobody cares about playing defense. and that's part of the problem. Joel Embiid is shot. He'll score points, but he won't do anything. He won't rebound. He's just not. He's not going to rebound. He's just going to try to score. He's just going to try to score. That's all he cares about is his points right now. He's shot. He's shot, and you got Paul George, who hasn't even played yet. Gee, this is what's amazing. The Sixers are 4-0. This is fool's gold. All you nitwits that, the Sixers, yeah, they got a chance. They got a chance to do absolutely zero, okay? They have been down by double digits in every one of those four in the fourth quarter. Double digits in the fourth quarter. They were down by 17 to the worst team in the NBA, the Washington Wizards. The worst team. They were down by 17 in the fourth quarter. Oh, look what they did to come back. You're not going to do that when you get deeper into the season. Teams aren't going to let you do that. It's just fool's gold. Sixers, fool's gold. Zero chance to get to the conference finals. Zero chance to get to the NBA finals. And zero chance with this team to win a championship. Zero. If you want to pay exorbitant prices to watch that, hey, Maxi's a really nice player. EJ Edgecombe, people are the rookie of the year. There's so many good rookies this year. You're not going to be the rookie of the year, but he's done a nice job. They should have traded Embiid 2 years ago. Bob said that. I said that. But, they were delusional. And they were delusional. By the way, the Flyers have done a really nice. Rick Tockett's done a really nice job. It's early in the season. Flyers, I think, have won 4 out of their last 5. They've won 4 out of the last 5. Give the Flyers some credit. Now, the Flyers are going in the right direction. The Sixers are going nowhere. The Flyers aren't going to get to a championship this year. However, they have become a better team under Rick Tocchet, and give the Flyers some kudos and give the Flyers some credit. They've done a really, really nice job. All right. My question tonight: to win the pair of Oakley sunglasses, and Bruce Arians, who was sensational in the show, Bruce Arians, I asked him the best quarterback that he coached in the NFL, the coach that he thought was the best in the NFL. The answer may surprise you. It's close. It was close, but he picked out a guy. Bruce Arians. The question is, who does he say was the best quarterback that he coached in the NFL? And if you submit that answer to my website, howardeskin.com, we'll come up with a winner from the correct answers. We'll select somebody at random, and we'll go from there. I see that, was it Bob said or RG said Embiid was undevelopable. I don't even know what that means, but he's done. He's shot. He's done. Sixers don't develop, but Embiid always did what he wanted to do. They never developed Embiid properly. How could you develop a guy that just wanted to do it himself? And once you gave him that new contract, Daryl Morey gave him that new contract, it was over. He wasn't going to do anything else. He's got preferential treatment. He has a chef that comes to his house. Everybody else has to go to the facility, and they'll have a chef on 24 hours a day if you want. He has the therapy guy come to his house. Everybody else goes to the facility to get it done. He gets everything he wants because he's a prima donna, and you can't win with a guy like that on your team. And Patty, thank you. Great show again. I hope everybody has a great rest of the week as well. And we mentioned earlier, and Bruce Arians talked about him, Harry Donahue, one of the fine, terrific, sensational broadcasters in Philadelphia, worked at KYW Radio for years, did Temple basketball and football play-by-play. He did the Temple football show with Bruce Arians, did that. Harry did some stuff for ESPN. He passed away today. But somebody else passed away today who I worked with for a short period of time, but I did work with him. Pierre Robert. And people, Play the music up a little bit louder. An icon, legendary. He passed away today at the young age of 70 years old. Pierre Robert. You absolutely will be missed. Anybody that has any love of music loves Pierre Robert. Rest in peace, Pierre. You are a awesome, wonderful, terrific guy. Nice to everybody. And so many people in this town love you. And so many people in this town will now miss you. Rest in peace, Pierre. You will be missed. I enjoyed working with you too. I want to thank people for joining the show. Thanks to Bruce Arian for being a part of the show. Pierre, you are a legend. Thanks to Joe Gangemi on the other side. The technical part of it, all the graphic, good stuff with the graphics. Tony Anastasia, thanks. We'll see you again on Saturday. We'll have Mark Lawrence on, and I'm sure there'll be some other issues that come up. Take care and have a great week.